Part 10. Let's set up a magic spell, because the melee combat, it's fun, but I like magic. So, I'm going to be using the Infinity Blade effects for this part. So if you don't have it, you want to do this one, you probably need it. So, in our blueprints folder, in our character components, I'm going to right click, actually no, in just the regular blueprints folder, I'm going to right click, create a new folder called Magic FX. Double click and open that up. And I'm going to create another new folder. First one we're going to do is a fireball. Double click, open that up. Right click, we were going to create a blueprint class of an actor and call it, that's not how you spell fire, fireball underscore BP. So double click, open that up. We're going to add a component of a particle system. And in our content browser, we're going to find the Infinity Blade effects. Right here under filters, we're going to click that, go up to particle system, and it'll single out everything so you don't have to go through each and every folder trying to find it. But scrolling down, I believe it was down fairly decent. Yeah, Fireball Base. Fireball Base. Select it. Here we will apply it to the template. So that, boom, there we go. And we're going to add one more part. Oh, and we want to add, we're going to go back to the content browser and find Fireball Base Trail. Then back in the Fireball, we'll add another particle system just right to the end of it. Compile. Off of add component, we will add projectile movement because we want it to be able to fly through the air. Compile. Under projectile movement, we want the initial speed to be, for testing purposes, 250. 250. Projectile gravity scale, 0, because we just want it to fly, we don't want it to fall. So let's test that out, make sure that's working. Magic Fireball. I'm going to set this out here. If you click this little arrow right here, it'll change the play mode. I'm going to go to simulate for a second. And yeah, there it goes. It's flying away. So, good deal. Oh, I've deleted the other 4 knights, but that's the only changes I've made so far. But now that we have that set up, for that particle system, let's bump that up to 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. Just because that first one was a little small. And we'll set particle system to be the default root, so we can get rid of that white ball thing. And then see it go, see it fly. Yay. Alright, now in the Fireball BP, we will add a sphere collision. And I guess the default size is decent. If you want to make it a little bit bigger, right here under shape, sphere radius, you can increase that. I'm going to leave it at the default for now. And with sphere selected, all the way at the bottom, you'll have these events. This one is on component begin overlap. If you want to double check, you can just drag that out. On component begin overlap. We'll click that little plus so that we get an event. And on component begin overlap with that sphere, we want to get the other actor that it hit. Find out if it has, actor has tag, and we will type in enemy. Branch with B left click. And if it does, then we want to spawn spawn emitter at location. The emitter we want is explode. Bomber explode. No, not bomber explode. Bomber explode? We'll just do bomber explode. It's gonna rain again. I thought it stopped. Yeah. Get a reference to self. Get world location of the particle system. I guess we could have just dragged that off and done it that way, so we'll do it that way. Get the location. And then destroy actor self. Leave it. Don't hook it to this, otherwise it'll destroy the emitter it just spawned. You want it to destroy the fireball. So, we'll test that real quick. I'm going to find my nav mesh. Press F on my keyboard, it'll bring it over here, or it'll highlight where it's all at, and then just drag it up so that it's not built on the ground, so that when I drag out my knight again, just line this up with him so that it automatically starts flying at him. I'll test it real quick. Yeah, there we go. That's not the explosion effect I want, but it works. Now, when this pops up, it's just because it can't read where for the thing to move to because I moved the graph. So, no problem. But we also wanted to not only spawn emitter at location, but we wanted to apply damage to the damaged actor when it is having the tag of enemy. For the base damage, we'll drag off, promote that to a variable, and call it damage to deal. Compile. What is their health? 6? Let's do 10. Then we'll spawn emitter at location. Yeah. So test it out. Boom, he's dead. There he goes. Again, you can ignore all that. In fact, I will drag that back down real quick. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now let's get our character set up to actually cast that. So in our character components, find our player anim BP. Negative Ghost Rider. Let's go to our edit project settings. And we need to set up our input under engine input for an action mapping called cast spell. I'm going to set that to Q on the keyboard, just for my own, just that's the way I do it. So, alright, now in our player blueprint, we'll right click, open them up. Then we will section this off, attack, base, and execute. Or we can box select and then hit C on the keyboard, and it'll create a comment block. So right click down here somewhere, anywhere you got open space, type in cast spell to call our action event. And we'll add a branch on pressed to find out if they are in guarding mode. Because I like to treat guarding mode kind of like a combat ready mode where they're able to do all this. So if they are in guarding mode, then we will find our player stats for our current mana, get current mana greater than or equal to, drag off the bottom one to a promote to variable, and we'll call it fireball cost. And this will be how much mana it charges for each time you want to cast that spell. Another branch, so if they are guarding and their mana is greater than or equal to however much it costs, then we will spawn actor from class. Okay. In our viewport, we will add another scene component called cast from. Back in the event graph, the class will be fireball right there, fireball BP. The spawn transform will be cast from. So we will actually get the location of the cast from. We will drag off spawn transform and do a make transform. Plug the get world location into location, and we will drag out our follow camera, and we will get it get pitch, get rotation, yeah, get world rotation. That should be all we would need for that. So for now, we'll just see if. Alright, so. Yeah, so now I can cast up, down, left, right. But that's a little weird looking for it to just be firing out of her crotch, basically. So let's set up the anim. Access none, trying to read what? Oh, okay. Set that patrol point back up if you deleted them too. But we will now break that off. Scoot that over. I'm going to drag this down underneath it. I'm going to add a custom event called cast fireball and hook that up. No, not there, not there. Up to the spawn fireball. That's where we want it. But we do need to disconnect this from this one because we're going to do a switch on int. If they are guarding, we want to find out what magic mode they have selected, because later on we're going to have more spells than just a fireball. We're going to have an ice spell, a heal spell, all kinds of stuff. So drag off the selection and do a promote to variable called magic mode. And add a pin. And now we will set the 0 up to be our fireball. So 0, hook that up to that. Right click, remove the default. And is the current mana equal enough to be able to do it? If so, then we will add a variable called cast fireball. No, we won't. Cast fire, that works. Set cast fire to true. Character movement, we'll drag that out. Set walk speed to 0 with a delay. If you press D on the keyboard and left click, it'll automatically create a delay. If it doesn't work, you can just right click and type in delay. No, delay. Get that one. We'll come back and adjust the time in a second. And then we will get the set walk speed. Actually, we'll get both of these. Control C, Control V. Make sure we set cast fire to false. Off the character movement, we'll drag that over, double click, box select and a Q so that we can line them up better. Box select, drag it down. That box select with a Q really just, I love it so much. This is our character, so we want to find out, are they still guarding? Branch. True. If they are still guarding, we want to set their movement speed to, what did we set it to up here? 175? 175. Set it to 175. Control C that, Control V down for false. If they are not guarding, we want it to be set back to 450. Okay, so pause, cast a spell, boom, wait until they're done casting the spell, and then, oh. Make sure you grab the guarding, get, and then check, because that's what you want to check. So, that should be good. This will be our magic base, and then our magic execute. So, alright, now let's set up the animation for it. So in our third person map, in our content browser, find your player anim graph. And we want to box select, Control C, Control V. Cast fireball. No, not the function. We want to cast fire, get cast fire. That's it. You want the boolean, not the function. So promote that to a variable called fireball. Hook that to the set. Come back up to the sequence node. Add a pin, drag it down. Hook it all on up. Compile. And in our state machine, we want to back out. And from melee ready, we want to drag off over here to add a state called fireball. Drag it back. You want to always have it go to where it can get to it and get back. So in the fireball, we will find the casting spell. Nope, that's the heal spell. So we want to find the right casting spell. What is that one? There it is. That's the one I'm going to use. So we will hook casting 1 up. Make sure we're not looping that animation. Double click to open it back up. We will find the point where we want them to start casting the fire. That looks good. So we'll right click on this notify, add a notify, new, fire. It is 1.033 seconds. So in our player BP for the delay, 1.033. Player anim. Compile. Event. No. In the state machine, to get to it, we want to get the fireball. If they are casting, then that fireball to melee ready. Get fireball. If it equals not active, then we want them to be able to switch back. In our event graph, we will cast fireball. We'll grab the function from our player, and for the anim notifier, remember it's fire with an exclamation point, so that when that animation notify fires, it'll grab the function from our player and cast it out. So let's test it. Now the next thing to, oh, I hit him, cool. The next thing to do will be to set up the casting from and line it up with where her hand is at. So grab the mesh. Under animation mode, we will use an animation asset. Not the armed blend space, but sword and shield casting 1. So sword and shield casting 1. We don't want it to play, but we do want it to be, from initial position, it'll be about here. And grab our cast from, move it up, move it out. Just kind of line it up with her hand, out in front of it a little bit. Doesn't matter. Yeah, well, let's line it up better at least. Yeah, that'll work. It looks like she'd be casting fire. Oh, while we're in here, the shield has been bugging me, so, but I forgot I actually thickened it in the last one. That's why it looked a little bit better. So let's, on the Y, set it to about 1.5, and then we can actually look decent, I guess. Move it just a tiny bit. Alright, so we want to make sure we set our animation mode for our mesh back to animation blueprint. Compile. Out in here, we'll save all. Something I repeatedly neglect to mention. Very important. So, now, oh, he saw me. Oof. Yeah. And then we can cast it up, we can cast it down, we can cast it all around. Something I forgot about though is in our player BP, we actually need to set it to where after it spawns the fireball, it sets our current mana to, we'll get our current mana and then subtract float minus float the fireball cost from it. So let's just check to make sure that that's working. We'll set up our HUD. We can delete these now. We'll drag out another progress bar. Shorten it up a little bit. Set it underneath just to differentiate it from the health one. I'm gonna make it green because I like Zelda and it's always green in theirs. So set that to green, or set it to whatever color you like. I'm gonna set mine to green. We'll bind the percentage just like we did with the health. We're going to drag out the player ref, get current mana, and then get max mana, and then divide. Float divided by float on that one so that it returns the right value. Remember, you want the current above the max because it's the one that'll shift. So now let's test that out. It did not set. Oops. Set current mana minus fireball cost. Is that set up? That is set up. The progress is to that. Okay. Oh. Because I'm stupid. And the fireball cost has to actually cost something, or else it's not going to subtract anything. So I'm going to set it. What is our current mana? 30. I'm going to set the fireball cost to 5. So let's full screen that real quick. Boom. Yeah. Alright. So, got our fireball spell. Boom. Boom. Let's see, make sure that you can't cast it once it's out of mana. I cannot. So, mission accomplished. Oh, one more thing on the fireball spell, just because we don't want them to float off and then just be floating through space forever. So, on begin play, we hold D, left click, add a delay of about, let's say, 5 seconds. You can adjust it to whatever, but then we'll destroy the actor so that in case it misses everything and doesn't explode, it doesn't just float off into space forever. This way it gets to a certain point and then it's like, you know what, didn't hit nothing, I'm gonna kill myself. So, let's just watch. Yeah, 5 seconds, that'll be good. We're gonna adjust the speed so that it flies a lot faster too. So that'll be the last thing we do, and then we'll end it here. So about 1,000, 4 times as fast. Whoa, it's booking it now. Nice. That might be a little bit fast, but I kind of like it. Alright, so there's a magic spell. Next, we'll set up the ice spell that'll actually find where the enemy is at and detonate on him instead of having to fly through the air to get to him. But that'll be for the next part, so thanks for stopping by.